Hey, welcome to another Milepost here on the V-Twin Life. The V-Twin Life is brought to you by a few great companies. One being Crash Inc. Clothing. You can find them out of Oregon. Great company, specialized in clothes, doing work on bikes now. You can check them out at crashinclothing.com. They got a lot of great stuff. Hey, head on over there. Maybe they got something you like. And we can't forget Wild Ass. You like pounding miles, you like riding, you want to be in comfort? Hey, maybe strap a Wild Ass under your ass and ride with an air cushion and be comfortable for hours. And can't forget Custom Dynamics, leading the industry in lighting LED technology. Man, these guys got some great stuff. So head on over to Custom Dynamics and check it out. Now, let's get to another milepost of the V-Twin Life. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for coming in on another Sunday as we're knocking down milepost 106 tonight. We got one half of the famous Chauncey brothers. We got Jeff Rambler hanging out with us tonight and going to hear some stories. Man, he just knocked off an incredible bucket list for a lot of guys when it comes to long distance. When you can finish the Iron Butt Rally, that is flat impressive. So we're going to get to that here in a little while. But thanks for coming on, hanging out tonight, Jeff.
Yeah, Denver, thanks for having me, man. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I know we've been shooting the shit for a while today, and now we just got to remember all the stuff we talked about so we bring it back up.
Exactly. I had to make a few notes.
Hey, that's not a problem at all. I usually try to do that too, and I can get through. Usually, I get like a dozen questions, and I think we can get through 6 of them, and then it's like sidetrack squirrel after 1 or 2, and try to come back. But it's a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a great time.
Hell yeah! So let's start where I like to. How did you find motorcycles? Where did it come into life for you?
So I got into motorcycles relatively late, a lot of later than most. I was, I knew you asked this always on your podcast, so I thinking I'm like, damn, when did I get my first bike? And I think it was around 2003. So I was in my early 30s. I thought I was in my 20s actually, but doing the math, it was somewhere around 30 years old. So, I'm not like most. I didn't grow up on dirt bikes or anything like that. So, somewhere around 2003, it was actually a used bike I bought from someone I knew in the town I grew up in. And it was a Yamaha Roadstar 1600. So, my first bike was a relatively big bike. And
I was always a fan of the Roadstars. They had an impressive. You put a set of pipes on them, and they sound impressive. I've always enjoyed them.
Yeah, this one had a set of straight pipes on. Like I said, a guy had owned it before me. I actually bought that and an enclosed trailer from him. And I didn't keep it very long. Like less than a year, I had it, and kind of got introduced to riding. There was some guys around town where I grew up, rode local bike nights and whatnot. So I was doing stuff like that down to Daytona a couple of times to the bike fest they have. And then of course, anybody that's gets into it, they want the Harley-Davidson. So I went over to a Harley dealer and I actually sold the 1600 to a guy. He was from up north, somewhere like Ohio, and he actually met me around Atlanta. So we met not even really halfway, but I met him up just south of Atlanta, and he purchased the bike and the trailer. And I purchased my first Harley Davidson, which was a 2004 Fat Boy, and loved that bike. Kick myself in the butt every time I think about getting rid of it. But kept it also for a short time because if you remember, the big chopper craze was around during that time. There were a couple of TV shows, people building custom choppers and whatnot. And that was the big fad at the time. I wanted one of those. So I actually traded the Fat Boy in on a 2005 Texas chopper, American Iron Horse Texas chopper. Had that bike for, gosh, like 7 years, I think. And that bike was definitely not a long distance bike, which I hadn't even thought about doing any rides like that back at that time. I called it a 100-mile bike. You ride it 100 miles, you want to get off of it. And even though it was a softail, it still was not a comfortable bike, but it was a head turner. You go down Main Street in Daytona, everybody looked at the choppers back then, and it was a
Oh
beautiful
yeah.
bike.
Oh shit, you got T-Bone inside. You got Sparks hanging out tonight. Brad, the
Yeah,
Iowa
what's
Hog
up, man?
Rider. Bunch of guys coming in. So
Yeah,
I got on
T-Bone's
the
my brother.
Fat Boy. What did? Yeah, I remember that. I know when I met him, I was thinking He's like, "You're thinking my brother." I'm like, "Shit." I was following some of your IBR stuff, but when you had the Fat Boy, you had the solid wheels and whatnot. How did it affect your riding, especially if you got in some windy conditions?
uh, I didn't notice anything different. I know a lot of people said you're not going to like that, the crosswinds and stuff, but I didn't feel it. To me, it rode just like any other bike I've owned.
Yeah, I had a good friend. They had one. He lived up here in Port Angelson. They went on a few runs to Portland, and you get down for us by that Columbia River Gorge, you can get some hellacious winds. And he said it was literally blowing him from the white line to the center line. He goes, it was just fucking horrible. And he got back and said he loved the bike. He's like, fuck those wheels, and pulled them off and bought some
Yeah,
new ones. And I've heard some people hate them, and some people don't have issues. So I'm just kind of curious how your experience was with them.
yeah. Now I only rid it Georgia, Florida. Uh, Took it up to the mountains once. And I say the mountains around here, we're talking Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Eastern Tennessee, North Georgia, North Carolina. Uh, Took it up there a couple of times. So if I was in anything like that, like crossing Monarch Pass or something like me and T-Bone did once, the winds up there were ridiculous. Or even out west, and me and Taquan was running out there once, the wind was freaking crazy out there. It would almost, if you didn't have a chin strap, it'd blow your helmet off. So riding in conditions like that, it probably would make a difference. But what the riding I did, I really didn't feel it.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of curious how that, fades for you.
Um, so yeah, I had the chopper and went through a divorce during that time. So I sold. I'm gonna say I sold everything just to get back on my feet. And I was actually without a bike for about a year. I think it was a year, maybe a little over a year and a half, even maybe. And I remember going. I lived by that time. I had moved to Florida, originally from Georgia, and I had moved to Florida. And there was a bar down here, a little biker bar. I say little, it's huge biker bar called High Octane. A guy named Doug Dottie owned it. He has since sold it, and it's not even a bar anymore. But cool place, man. I mean, it had a front bar, back bar. It had a mechanic on site, a shop. Had a guy that would detail your bike. Had a tattoo guy inside. So it's like one stop, for everything. Um, I remember sitting around. They had an event going on. It could have been one of their anniversary parties or something, but I remember sitting there, and my brother was there, and my sister-in-law Michelle. They were sitting there. And I looked up, and the Harley dealership was like, I mean, you could see it from there on the opposite side of the street. It's like blessing them, it's 100 yards. And I'm sitting there, and all these bikes rolling in. I hadn't been on a bike in a year and a half, and I remember looking at him and say, "Hey, let's take a ride down to the Harley place, look around." So he hopped in my Jeep, rode down there, and actually right away found a roadglide special that was used. It was a 2013, I think, and whoever owned it for me had put a little work into it. Had it real nice. I think it had like 1,200 miles on it or something like that. So right then and there, we kind of struck a deal, and I went back the next day and picked it up. So that was my first road glide special, and I've had three since then. Um, Put little miles on it. Didn't really do any really long miles, and I did go up to DC a couple of times to the Run to the Wall event they used to have up there. I don't think they
Mhm.
have that anymore. Went up there a couple of times on it, and it wasn't long. Actually, I just came back home from one of the Run to the Walls, and I'd wanted a newer one with the new fairing and the new the new display, the new infotainment system, touchscreen or
Mhm.
whatnot. So I wanted that one. Maybe that didn't have touchscreen, but anyway, I love the the color of that denim paint when it came out, kind of like
It
a
is a
flat black
sharp
denim.
color.
And I went to my local Harley dealership here at Warhorse Harley and pulled on the lot, and there one set. It was a used one. Again, that one had 400 miles on it. I'm like, who buys a bike and puts 400
Jesus.
miles on it? I'll do that to
Yeah.
go eat pizza. And so it was a 2015 Road Glide Special. Like I said, it had a lot of extras on it. It had a programmer on it, the old Screaming Eagle one that did away with, the racing programmer. Harley-Davidson had that on
Hmm.
it. That came with it. A few extras. Blacked out. I mean, the thing was sharp. So I don't getting that one, and put a ton of miles on it. I think when I traded it, it had 98,000 on it.
Ooh,
But
heck yeah.
that's the one I did the Hoka Hey on, the first Hoka Hey 2020. I did the 2020 on it. Um, Several certified IBA rides on it, and just only like a couple of months out from the 2022 Hoka Hey, I decided to trade in on a newer one. So I got a 21 Road Glide Limited now. I was
Nice.
bound and determined to ride the old 2015 in 2022, and I had put a little bit of money in, and I'd replaced everything on the left side on the primary. I put a new compensator in it. Forget the name of it. It's like a high performance compensator, Dark Horse or something like that.
Hmm.
Can't even remember what it was, but I put that in a new chain tensioner, new clutch basket, did all that, and then traded the damn thing. But I still have that now. I got a 21 Limited, and I have a 2018 Triumph now. That's
So what
the
got
same
you into
bike.
wanting to do the long distance riding? Really, the IBA shit and really getting to it and pounding miles.
You know, that would have been right after the 2020 Hoka Hey, because I had never even heard of this. I've heard the Hoka Hey back like 2014 or something. A friend of mine, we were at some event, and I remember he had like a sleeveless shirt on. He had a tattoo. It said Hoka Hey Motorcycle Challenge. And I asked him, I said, what is that? And he told me, all about it. Primarily back roads, some of the best scenery. You sleep by your bike, hotels are not allowed. And I'm like, man, that sounds awesome. So I started kind of following it. But the next few years, it started like in California or out west. And man, I just can't get enough time to go there, do the ride, and get back home to work. So I didn't really get into any of that until 2020 Hoka Hey. And I actually did my first certified saddle store 1000 like a week before. I had went up to New York, never had never certified a ride or anything like that, and kind of started researching that on how to do it and whatnot, and took a ride up to New York to an event up there that was going, and Wright was at that same event, and certified to ride there and hung out with those guys, and then got a certified ride coming back. So I had 2 certified rides before the Hoka Hey started. But when the ride started, like I say, I'd never been on anything like that. I've ridden. Long distance to me was 400 or 500 miles, and so this thing starts, and we do the ride. Got to meet a lot of people there. It was more or less near the end of it, at the party, the end of the road party, and started meeting people. I met Paco, I met Ken Andrews, Solo, met these guys, and started hearing stories and hearing about this long distance riding. This is a whole nother world that I didn't even know existed. If I knew it existed back, in my younger years, I'd have been doing it for years. But I didn't have any idea any of this existed. Never heard the Iron Butt Rally. none of this. So it was really after the 2020 Hoka Hey when I kind of said, man, this sounds cool. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. It's addicting.
It is. A lot of people think we're crazy. You don't get to see much. You don't, you're moving that to do that. You're moving at a high rate of speed. You're not stopping. Well, maybe, but sometimes, but that's our passion, man. It's like a challenge, like we're challenging ourselves
Mm-hmm.
more or less to, people, why you need to do this for a piece of paper, I don't know. Why do you get a trophy for the Super Bowl? You know? Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's enjoyable, man. It's a great experience, and I am happy to meet the people I have in doing this, and man, there's so many great mentors out there that I look up to. A lot of people better than me, great riders out there that's a lot better than I am, and it's like I watch these guys and I learn from them.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. I mean, I think you're always learning. There's always little things, I talk to, like Go Home Ken, I'll shoot the breeze with him at least once a month. And, somebody get, a message
Great
like
guy.
Hop or whatnot and, get advice. And, those guys are so experienced at it. And it's great to have, friends like that in your corner to bounce ideas off of and questions and whatnot. I think it's awesome. And it's, it's the community. It's almost in a way, it's like a family. I mean, you start to know a lot of these people and you become a tight knit group and it's, it's a family that everybody you get to know.
It is, and we push each other. I think sometimes, if Ken's on a ride, he had a ride he done. I think he did a ride in for the pizza party they have once a year. It used to be called a pizza party. It's the Jacksonville party that the IBA has. I think it's in March. But he had rode in for that, and then he was on a little ride. I say a little ride. It was the ride around Florida. I think he was trying to accomplish at that time. And I was watching him on the spot water tracker, and actually, he was coming through Ocala. So I went out on an on ramp and was going to meet him there. He came by, and man, it took me like 10 miles to catch up with him, but finally caught up with him. We rode together. I mean, we didn't even stop and chat because I knew he was on a mission, but I rode along there with him for, I don't know, 50 miles or so. And I kind of waved and I got off, and came back home and he finished his ride. But it's little things like that, man, that, I'm hoping that I gave him, woke him up and gave him that extra adrenaline that he needed. Because
Yeah.
it's awesome
Ken's
when you're out on a ride like that, and someone meets you.
very true. And then, it's the famous never forget Florida for Ken.
You're right. He won't ever forget that.
I don't think nobody will let him live that
We
down.
won't. We won't let him.
No. So when did you get hooked up, started riding with Mile Monsters? Was that after your first ride of the 2020 Hoka Hey?
Yeah. So in 2020, we rode for Team Jamesy, which was this was for Jamesy, which also serves from DMD.
Right.
And Wright had ridden for that charity in 18. And then when me and T-Bone got on board with the Hoka Hey, they asked you to select a charity or whatnot. So we chose to ride for the same charity Wright did. So there was four of us. It was us three and Kenneth Brooks was riding for Team Jamesy during the 2020 Hoka Hey. And not long after that, is when Wright started the Mile Monsters. So we just kind of, fell right into to the Mile Monsters.
My lights just shut off from my garage. All right. Yeah, my Switch decided to have a mind of its own, just shut off. So at 2020, was that the year? So was that Jar of Hope? I think it
Jar of
was.
Hope, correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Jar of Hope, and then we called ourselves Team Jamesy.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I say, not long after that, somewhere between 2020 and 2022, right, started his own charity, Mile Monsters, and we kind of just moved right on into Mile Monsters Inc. And they're doing some great things. They're actually on the ride now. For the listeners that don't know,
Yeah, the Goats
they're out
Tour
in
of
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, exactly. They're out there, which they made the San Antonio news too. I posted that on my Facebook page earlier. But awesome stuff they're doing out there with Gavin,
Oh, it's
taking
freaking
him
so
to
cool.
they're taking him to every Harley Davidson dealership in Texas. Started it, when did it start, yesterday or day before? Something like that.
Yesterday was day one.
Yeah. Yeah. So awesome stuff they're doing out there with Gavin.
And then props, I mean, also I think like they were saying, their biggest challenge is the weather because it is hot as hell down there right now.
Man, if it's anything like it was 2 weeks ago, I don't see how they're doing it.
Yeah, they're running, dealing with triple digits. So, you've seen a
Yeah.
few pictures of them today. I noticed like Hopper's Post stopping at gas stations, going back in the beer caves and standing in the
Yeah,
heavy
man.
refrigerated aisles.
It was rough when I was out there a couple of weeks ago.
So then you did the 2022 Hoka Hey, you got that, and then the real crazy cool thing is you did the IBR rally this year, which actually just finished a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. It finished up.
So what sparked
Yeah,
that
so I
one?
did it.
Just a crazy idea. It's like, hey, I wonder if I could get in.
Exactly. So like you said, I'd completed two Hoka Hays, 2022. Um, when I applied for the Iron Butt Rally, the IBR, I had yet to finish 2022. So it was in between the two. Can't even remember when we actually sent in our resumes for it, but because you send them like a history of your riding history and stuff like that. And so I applied for it, not thinking I was going to get in because I have zero rally experience. I can knock out some miles here or there, so I don't mind riding, but I had zero rally experience. When I say zero, I had completed at the time that I sent my application or resume in, I think it was one rally under my belt, which was only a 10-hour rally called Snafu Rally. They have it in Georgia. And T-Bone says, I want that 3-digit number. That's not a lie.
Yeah.
That's a
Hey, that's
coveted number that
something.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
coveted number that any long distance rider that knows about it, that's like a goal, man. Let's get that 3-digit number. And
absolutely.
so I applied for it. Told my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna apply for this thing, but I'm not gonna get in. I'm just gonna let them know I'm interested, and get my riding resume up, do a few rallies, and maybe I'll get in 25. And next thing I know, I get an email, saying congratulations, you're accepted into the 2023 Iron Butt Rally. I'm like, holy shit.
This just got real.
Yeah, right. But so I rode a 2018 Trike in that one. I had story behind that is a guy named Rob Griffith on that bike before I did, and a guy named Mark Wood on it before he did. And he actually built the bike, put the ox tank on it and some auxiliary lighting. He was getting it rally ready himself. Excuse me. And we were out at K Solo and Reese Ride to Eat out in Mississippi when they had it there around Gulfport, I think it was. But so Rob and Taekwon roll in together, and I go over to look at Rob's bike, which is the one I have now. And I'm like, man, this is a cool bike. I had been wanting, a venture type bike for a while. Didn't really know which one I wanted, but I looked at it and I'm like, man, it's a cool looking bike. And so I get back home, started looking online for a Triumph Tiger. Um, I find one, 2017 Triumph Tiger Explorer. It's in around Jackson, Mississippi. So I go down to Orlando and get on a plane and fly out there and buy it and ride it home. And I do I didn't do much to it. I can't remember. I think I put just some small stuff on it. Nothing major. And so I'm getting it ready. So this is going to be my rally bike. So I'm looking for someone who knows how to do an ox tank, to plumb it and whatnot. And I was going to get an ox tank built for it. And during that time, Rob contacts me and says, "Hey, I'm gonna sell this bike and get another one. Love the bike, but it just don't fit me. Do you want it?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want it, but damn, I just bought one like a few months ago." I said, "Let me see if I can find a buyer for it." In the meantime, I agreed to buy the bike from Rob, and we meet out in I think it's West Florida. So he lives in Alabama. I think he came down to like Tallahassee, maybe just Mariana. I think it was Mariana, Florida, which was just west of Tallahassee. And I bought a bike, ride it home, and now I got 3 bikes in the garage, and end up selling the 17. Long story short, because the bike that Rob had that I have now was it was just like how I was going to set the 17 up. So it was just a no brainer. Plus, it's a year newer and had the new display and stuff on it. So I got that back. That's what I read in the 2023 IBR. Um, one of the cons that you will, I mean, if you look online, you can Google it, you can look on the forums, Facebook pages, and whatnot. One of the cons of that bike is heat, engine heat. Now, Harleys produce engine heat. Any bike, I mean, you're sitting on a motor, so any bike's going to produce engine heat, but man, it's nothing like that. That thing is ridiculous. You don't really notice it that much in the winter, and I really didn't notice it that much. I mean, you notice it, but it's not a big problem, even in Florida, as hot as it gets here. But when I got out west on the IBR, West Texas, Nevada, Arizona area, it was crazy heat. I've actually got a picture on my Facebook page where I got a bag of ice laying on my lap, just trying to block that engine heat from blowing up because it would come up like right on your chest and face. And that's the
Damn.
only bad thing I have to say about it, because this is an awesome bike.
What'd you get for now running with the auxiliary tank on it? What'd you get roughly? What was your fuel range?
Of course, it depends on your right hand, but somewhere between 350 and 400 is what I can
Well,
get.
that ain't bad.
No, I mean, by that time I'm ready to stop anyhow and stretch and stuff. Get off the bike for if it's only 8 minutes. That's what I try to limit my fuel stops to, was 8 minutes. So even if it's just for a short time, but I'm ready to get off and stretch anyways.
Right. Now I know, from studying whatnot with the IBR, it's like a scavenger hunt. So, some guys were hoteling every night, but basically you kind of, you'd hit the checkpoints and you get a map, say, okay, here's all the little bonus points. And what is it? You got to basically, they give you an in destination, say 3 days or something. And then you basically build your route to get yourself there, but try to get as many points as you can.
Right. So when each checkpoint, they gave us they sent us an email with different types of files, GPX file, I think it's CVC file, which is your points. And it depends on what routing system I think you use, or whichever one you prefer. I prefer the GPX file. And that's a list of the bonuses. I actually used an Excel spreadsheet that I did not develop because I am not that smart, but a guy named Greg Rice developed it, and he developed it for himself when he did several IBRs, and he shared it, which is freaking amazing that he shared this thing. Don't even for no money, because it's an awesome tool. So I actually use that, and so you go into it and you take that GPX file and you download it in the spreadsheet. So now it's got all your bonuses listed, and then you have to manually enter, or you download and I hope I'm saying this right, CVC file. So you download that, and then it attaches the points to each bonus. And now you got the bonus name, of course, the GPS, coordinates and the points. And then you go through the rally book and you manually enter the what am I trying to say? When it's available, whether it's 24 hours or daylight only, or if it's a time bonus. And the way he's got that spreadsheet set up is each one has a different symbol. And then if it's you set up the way you want, if you want 0 points through 500 points to be green, and then you want 501 points to 1,000 points to be blue, and and so
And
on.
on and on. Yeah.
So you enter all that manually, and then it takes a little time. But man, when you export that, I use Basecamp. When you export that to Basecamp, you have a map that shows you right away if it's daylight only, if it's 24 hours, if it's a time bonus, what the point value is, whether it's a low value green or a medium value blue or a high value high point bonus red. So you can looking at the map and you kind of plan your route. Um, I did anyway. I planned my route to the red bonuses. What I have colored as red, which is your high point value bonuses, and then you try to catch anything in between there. So when I would plan my route, I'd say, well, here's a lot of red over here in California. So I want to hit those, but now I got some stuff here that I can hit on the way. So I would add them along the route. And then you have, of course, you have to take in consideration uh, time zones, because you got to be at the checkpoint at a certain time. So, we had to be at checkpoints at 8 p.m. So at 1 second after 8 p.m., you start going into penalty points. So they start taking points away. And
And don't
then
they
two
also
hours.
have? Oh, go ahead.
So 2 hours later at 10 p.m., you're time barred. So if you're not there by 10, you're out of the rally.
And didn't they have like mandatory break times too, where you got to take a break?
I don't know if it's mandatory. Maybe someone that's the veteran that maybe on might know. I don't know if it's per se mandatory, but
Okay.
they do have rest bonuses that you actually get points for. So I would
Okay,
try to
maybe that's
max
what it
every
was.
rest bonus out, because especially on the last leg, the further you go, like leg one, the points are kind of low, and leg two, they're a little higher. Leg three, the points are some pretty high value points there. And the rest bonus on leg three, I think it was the second one. If you took the full thing, and I don't have it written down, but it's like over 6,000 points, which is worth a couple of bonuses really, just to lay in bed and sleep. So I took advantage of that, and
Oh, heck
I
yeah.
think I think all of my rest bonuses except one were the 8 hours. You got to have a minimum of 4 and a maximum. You get a maximum of 8. You can sleep 10 hours, but you're only going to get paid per se. You only get points for
8 of it.
8 hours. Yeah.
And I remember watching the because I mean every day, a couple times a day, it's like I would get on the IBR, the spot wall map for everybody. And remember at one point, a lot of guys say Midwest, West Coast, and there was 2 guys up in like the Yukon territories, up in freaking way up north in Canada. Somebody commented, there got to be some serious bonus points up there to go all
Yeah, I
the
can't.
way up to like the Yukon.
There was the Northern Territories. There was one up there. Um, and you can go on ironbuttrally.net and look at all our scorecards and what everyone did, and look at the point values. I think there was one up there. I know Ben Earth was one that went up there. Uh, I think one was worth like 20,000 points, and
Jeez.
and you go right by one to get there that was worth like, I don't know, 6 or 10,000. I can't even remember really how much that was, but yeah, there was some high value points up there.
Yeah, just crazy. See, cluster way down the United States and like 2 way up north. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, I think it was two that went up there. Went all the way to the Northern Territories. And there was several more went into Canada, but I carried my passport just in case, but I chose not to even worry with that. I've never crossed the border. I can want, surely didn't want to try it on the IBR, and for whatever reason, didn't get in. Don't know why they wouldn't let me in, but I didn't want to even attempt it.
Yeah.
I was going to go, if I said I'd go if there was some high value points up there, but I'm like, man, I can hit California and work my way back through New York City. And this is on the last leg, and make it back. Plenty of time, not to be time barred, no penalty points, and still accumulate a good amount of points. So that's what I did.
And it's what, 11 days, correct?
11 days. Yeah.
Yeah. What a
And they
ride.
call it
So
11.
Go for it.
They call it 11-day, 11,000 mile, which is probably average. The guy that placed first place, Jim Owen, which that was his third win in an IBR. He had over 14,000 points. I'm sorry, 14,000 miles is
In
what
11
he
days.
ran. Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I think I didn't get 11. I had a little over 10,000. I think that's what I ended up with.
Then what are your checkpoints about every 3 days?
You broke up a little. Do you want to know?
Your checkpoints, are those about what, every 3 days?
Yeah. So the first and second leg was every third day, and then the last leg was 5 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the first leg, 3 days, one rest bonus. Same with the second, and then the third leg is and you get call-in bonuses too. You got one per leg for the first and second, and then the third leg was 2 call-in bonuses and 2 rest bonuses.
Okay. And I've heard a lot of people talk about using Basecamp, which I'm not familiar with that. So is that like, a Garmin deal, or what exactly is, the Basecamp when you're using it for mapping?
Yeah, it's a Garmin software. I struggled with it. I still do, really. I know enough about it now. I can plan a route, but I'm nowhere near an expert on it by no means. But when I first started, man, I was pulling my hair out. I just couldn't grasp it. And then I had some people say, man, if you ever get used to it, it's the best routing software there is. And a lot of people use it. And once I watched a couple of or few tutorial videos on YouTube, I started playing around with it, and plus had others kind of show me a few things. And once I kind of got used to it, I agree. It's probably one of the better routing softwares. But I'm telling you, I struggled with that for a while. I'm like, why it don't have to be this hard, So why can't it be as easy as Google Maps?
Yeah,
And
that's one of
I
my
run
basically my go-to.
actually when you the software I was talking about, Greg Rice's software, when you enter all this, you have it export a GPX file. So I named it, I'd name it uh, IBR leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, depending on which one I was routing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have that in my base camp. But at that same time, I would, now I got a GPX file that I can also upload into Google Maps. So that worked for me pretty well because I have my route on my Garmin XT. So I have my route that I'm going to run on Garmin XT, but now I have the GPX file with all the bonus locations on Google Maps on my phone. So I can actually, my phone is not holding my route, but it shows me all the bonuses. So I know if I'm going by one, that I didn't have on the route. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
look here, I'm going right by one. It's only, it's just off this exit. So you can hop in and grab it. And when I got into New York City on leg 3, I was in Manhattan, and we had a bonus that actually was a combo in Harlem. But when I got in New York City, my XT went crazy. I don't know what was going on with it. I finally just turned it off. It didn't know where to go. So Google Maps actually saved me. I actually could zoom in and tap on the bonus I was headed to and route it, and it took me right to both bonuses that I had in Manhattan.
Yeah, see, I was playing with Google Maps, like, getting ready for my Monsters Over Mountains ride in a few weeks after Sturgis, and got it all made up. And I sent it to a couple of the guys, and all of a sudden it's like, I sent it to myself also, and I pull it up on my phone because I'm doing it from the computer. And then all of a sudden, it's like the route is going up into Canada. I'm like, dude, that's not even remotely close to what I made. And so I've been
Yeah,
playing with Reaver, mapping out the ride through Reaver, and might try that one out and not
yep,
see how that works. But I hate it when you map something out on Google and then all of a sudden you send it and, oh no, you should take this route. I'm like, motherfucker, it's not. I made the route where I wanted to go, and
exactly. And
Google
I had
is
that happen to
frustrating
me a
with some
couple
of that.
times. Yeah, I had that happen to me a couple of times on Google. Maybe I just don't know how to use it because I know I think Ken Andrews uses Google to do most of his routing, if not all. But maybe I don't know it well enough. But I'm like you. I've planned a route on Google Maps, and then when I send it to my phone or whatnot, it's like a total different route than what I wanted.
Yeah,
And yeah, I hadn't got that figured out yet. But the way I use it, I just have the bonuses um, where I can see them on the map. I'm not necessarily don't have a route on there, but I can just tap on one and route to it. It worked great that way for me.
there you go. So, what? There must be some special story about the Santa Monica Pier.
Oh, that's T-Bone, Santa Monica Pier. So on leg two, I'd planned a route, and Santa Monica Pier was worth a little over 16,000 points, which was one of the big ones on leg two. And then there was one not far. I say not far from there, not far looking at a map wise. I think it was in New Mexico, maybe Arizona. But there was another bonus out there worth 6,000. So I mean, right away you got some good points right there between Santa Monica Pier and this one. That was can't even remember the name of it. I had those on my route for leg two, and I want to. I tell people, man, I went into this IBR. I was very conservative. I feel like because I did not want to DNF. I did not want to come in uh, after the deadline, and I need to work on my time versus distance calculations better. But this long what he's talking about, long story short, I had the Santa Monica Pier on my route, and I had this other bonus that was just south of there or southwest of there. And what I should have done, hindsight, was left Tulsa and went straight there. I should have went straight to Santa Monica and then down and caught that one, and there I have, you know, 23,000 points right away. That's what I should have done, hindsight, but I didn't. I was trying to grab bonuses on the way. Well, I was still in New Mexico, and I got the look, and I'm like, man, I can't make Santa Monica and be back in Denver, Colorado at the third checkpoint or second checkpoint two. So I can't be back there. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. So I panicked a little, and I'm marked those off. And I'm like, there's one in Wyoming that's worth 4,000 points. So I'll kind of saved this leg too a little bit with them 4,000 points. So I rode all night to get to somewhere in Wyoming. I forget the name of the town, but it's a little over 4,000 point bonus up there. I went and grabbed. And looking back now, I had time to get to Santa Monica and back, but at that point, brain fog or whatever, I marked it off, and I'm still kicking myself in the butt for it.
Well, then you got Ashley Chauncey says there's a good, so something about Caesar Palace.
That's my wife. Hey, Ashley. But she's on a business trip up in DC area right now. But so what was that? That was leg three. It was on my route. I went to Caesar's Palace. Pull up to the main. I've never been to Vegas either. That was my first time. But I pull up to the main entrance at Caesar Palace, and this is where all the limos are and the valet parking is. And I pull up there, and I'm like, man, can I park? I got a bonus inside. We had to take a picture of a buffet, like the entrance to this, supposed to be like the world's largest buffet. And we're supposed to take a picture of the entrance to it. So I pull up and I asked the one of the valets, I'm like, man, can I just park my bike over to the side somewhere and run inside and get this bonus. And another thing I did on my phone is I would take pictures of the rally book so I could at each stop I could look at it on my phone and see exactly what I need to be looking for. So I kind of zoomed in like it's a picture of this, and he said that's kind of a long ways from here, and we can't just let you park up front. You're going to have to go around and park in the parking garage. Okay, how do I get there? Tells me how to get there, and man, it must have took me 20 minutes just to get around to the parking garage, get parked. I'll walk, a couple hundred yards to the elevator, and I go to the casino. Now I'm walking through this casino, and have you ever been to Vegas
No, I haven't.
or I mean, everybody's dressed to the nines. They're in suits. The ladies are in these evening gowns, and everybody's dressed to the nines. And I smell like a goat. I'm in my climb gear, and I'm walking through the casino, and I walk right by the actual what I'm looking for. I walk right by it, but it looked nothing like it did on the black and white photo that I have on my phone. And I'm still searching for it. I asked a couple of people, and finally they're like, "Yeah, it's right here. You walk right by it." So I go look at it, and it's funny when I took the photo looked just like the one in the rally book, but standing there looking at it didn't. So I lay my phone down on a little pedestal they had there. I lay my phone down, I hang my rally flag, I snap the photo. All right, we're good to go. I actually take a couple of them. I leave, it must be a quarter mile at least back to my bike. And then when I get to the elevator, there's a kiosk there that says pay for your parking here. And I'm like, well, shit, I left my ticket on the bike. So I'm like, well, let me run to the bike and get my ticket and come back and pay. Well, when I get to the bike, I'm putting my rally flag up. I'm looking for my parking ticket. And I'm like, where's my phone? And I'm like, holy shit, I left my phone back at the buffet at the bonus location.
Shit.
So now I've got to walk my fat butt, another quarter of a mile all the way through the casino to the buffet and praying the whole time my phone's still there. Cause I mean, there's 1,000 people in there, and it was so, and I pay for my parking and get out of there. But it took me, man, that must've been an hour and a half bonus stop. And I'm like, man, this is killing me. Later on, after the rally, after we all got back, the guy I was talking about I bought my bike from, Rob Griffith, also rid in the IBR. He was saying, yeah, I went to Vegas and I pulled up to the valet parking, and they're like, hey, are you with the scavenger hunt guys? And I'm like, yeah. Hey, park right here and we'll walk you to what you're looking for. He says I was there in and out in 20 minutes. Like, go figure, man. But yeah, that's what she was talking about. It was
one of those pay to parking things. When we were over in South Dakota last summer, it was me and my son. You had Setzer Pendants and Mike and Nick Pickering, who were in the side chat over here. We went up to Mount Rushmore. And it's like, we had like 3 bikes and 1 parking thing. Well, you come in, everybody gets a ticket. And we're leaving out, and I see Jason, getting ready to pay for parking. I'm like, why the fuck should we all pay for, literally the same parking spot? So me and my son pull right up next to him. Right. And so as soon as the gate comes up, we take off through the gate. Well, the little sensors must have registered us leaving. Jason just starts to pull out of the gate as the gate drops, and damn near hit him right in the head almost. It was so close. He ducked down behind it, and it just missed the back of his bike. And I saw it all in the mirror. I'm like, holy shit, that was good. Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the IBR, the IBR was like a bucket list thing, man. From like I said, just a couple of years ago, I never heard of it, and now here I have completed it. So I'm very, very happy and honored to be among the 3-digit number crowd now, because there's some awesome riders that compete in this thing. I mean, world renowned, riders in this thing. There's great people, great riders.
So with this one, I'm not sure if did they finally break the 700 rider mark for 700 riders that completed it? Because I know they're up in the 690s, but following the pages, I'd never seen a 700 number yet post anywhere, so I'm not sure if you knew that or not.
I don't know. I don't think so. I can, you can go on and look,
Okay, I'll
but
have to try to find it. I'm curious.
I don't think they're at 700 yet. I know I'm 668. Um, yeah, they shouldn't be in the 700 yet. I wouldn't think.
So where'd you place that? Do you remember?
52nd.
That's freaking awesome,
So
though, man.
not,
Congrats on that. Because I mean, like I said, it's something not many can accomplish, and to you know get selected and be a finisher. Man, my hat's off.
right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very happy about my finish. Of course, you always want to do better in whatever you're doing, but my goal going into this thing was just finish it. Same with the Hoka Hey. Really, I just wanted to finish it. It just turned out in 2020 we were top 20 finishers, and then if it wasn't for the my tire issue and then Travis's accident, T-Bone's accident, I think we would have finished in the top 10 for sure. Maybe even top five. Because we were running right behind Pat Cornell and his nephew, I think it was AJ, I think it is. So they finished second and third behind Solo. So we were right there. We were out there fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So, but like I say, a lot of people don't know. I say a lot of people don't know. Only a few probably know that I came off of that ride because of a tire issue for 2 days. So for when right after T-Bone got in his accident, I noticed I had a tire that was bad. I don't think it would have finished. I think we had 800 miles to go, so we were there. And I said, "Man, do I try this thing or what do I do?" And of course, he just had his accident, and I'm like, the smart thing to do is to put a tire on.
Yeah,
And I was actually at a gas station in Casper, uh, trying to talk myself into go get a tire because I was wanting to try to finish it. But so the same guy that helped Solo out changing his tire stopped with me. He'd been following us on our trackers. It was the same guy. He pulls up and talks with me, and he's like, my dad's got a lift or whatnot. If you can get a tire, I'm like, man, I'm looking around for a tire. There's a Harley place right here. Maybe I can spend the night here and get one put on in the morning. And he said, no, not Harley place closed during COVID and hadn't reopened. And I'm like, shit. So I was at that point, I was panicking, didn't know where to go. So I started calling around, and the nearest place I found one was all the way back in Rapid City. It wasn't even at the Harley place. The Harley place said, man, it's going to be a couple of weeks before we can get you in. And I'm like, man, I'm on the Hoka Hey. I ain't got 2 weeks. And he give me a
yeah,
number to a local shop there that a lot of guys got some tires changed there. I pulled up and Lionel Ramus was there. Lionel Ramus already finished. He saw my bike there, thought I had finished. And I'm like, no, man, I ain't finished yet. I'm getting a tire put on. I'm going back in the morning and finish this thing. But I got back to where we were staying at, and I told my wife, and T-Bone was there at that time, and I said, I was gonna wait till in the morning, to go back and finish, but I'm gonna go ahead and go tonight. It's like a 4 hour ride back to Casper from where I was at, so 8 hour round trip. But I went back and picked up the route where I had left it, and actually finished. But I think I finished 40. I think on the list, I think I'm 49th or 50th is where I ended up finishing all that. But I couldn't, I couldn't not finish it, knowing I had a bike that was capable. So I rode back and picked the route back up and finished it.
well, yeah, especially when you're that far. I mean, in a way, it's like you're committed at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I could have easily tapped out. Said, "Man, I'm at home. All
Yeah,
my wife's here. All my friends. The other people were here. We had rented Airbnb up there, and it was a huge place, and there was 8 or 10 of us staying there. But I'm like, I'm here with everyone. I could just tap out of this thing and call it quits. But I went back and finished it, which I'm glad I did.
right. So you got wrong ways wanting to know. I mean, I know, but he's asking if you're going to do the 24.
Um, right now, wrong way. I told Denver earlier, I'm about 98% sure I'm not going to do it. And much as I would love to do it because Alaska's on my bucket list and it starts in Daytona, which is 2 hours from my house, it'd be ideal. I'm probably not going to do it because I think I'm going to take a break. And me and the wife's going to, take those couple of weeks to
and we've lost him. Come back. Yeah. He's frozen in time. I know he was saying earlier they've been having some weather down there, and he was hoping his. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I got what's Elon Musk? I said it earlier. Starlink. I got Starlink internet. So if it rains very hard, I get cut off a little bit. But where was I at? Probably not going to do it. I kind of want to do a 2-week vacation with Ashley instead of taking 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to do that, because I had 2020 Hoka Hey. I think we did take a vacation in 21. I think that's when we flew out west and rented a car. And then I had 2022 Hoka Hey, and then 2023 IBR. So it's kind of been about Jeff for a few years. So I'm gonna probably take 24 off and go somewhere. We don't know yet.
There you go. You got your brother also mentioned the trains were hell out west for you.
Those trains are. Yeah, that's sleep deprivation. Just I saw a train that wasn't there on
Oh yeah.
2022 again. Yeah. I mean, I actually stopped. In the middle of the road. There's not even a train track there, but I actually saw the arms down. I saw the lights flashing. I saw a train stopped, and I stopped, put it in neutral, and I'm sitting there and kind of leaned back, closed my eyes for a minute, and then when I look back, I'm in the middle of the road, just out in the middle of nowhere on a 2-lane highway, and it wasn't there. So that stuff's real. I've had they say when you get sleep deprived like that, and you have little hallucinations. I've seen trees breathing or crazy stuff like that. I've never seen something that was as vivid as that. That scared me. And I actually ran off the road right after that. So I had some close calls in 22.
Yeah, well, when you're pushing the miles and running the hours that you guys do competing in that event, I can see why.
Yeah, and it don't have to be that way. We just we choose that for ourselves
Right.
to do that. That's a decision that I made to ride like that. They certainly don't condone it, but I made a decision to ride like that and ride that tired and sleepy, and I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah. Michael coming goes, I didn't believe any of that crap until the 22 Hoka Hey.
It's real, man. Man, it's I kept for the longest time I had a canopy over me at night. I don't know what that was all about, but like I would look up and it would be like a mesh. I thought I was going through a covered bridge or something, but this thing went on for miles, and it's just your mind playing tricks on you when you hadn't slept in 36, 48 hours.
Yeah, pushing the envelope a little much.
Yeah, a little too much, but I said when I do the IBR, I'm not taking those chances anymore because it's not worth it, man. We lost a couple of people on 22, and I don't know the particulars behind that. I don't know if they fell asleep or not, and of course we lost one in 2020. So yeah, it's just not worth it, you know. If you're tired, pull over, man. Get some sleep, even if it's a couple of hours. It's amazing what a power nap will do.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael, I saw trees turn into stuffed animals and play in the street.
Exactly, and I know exactly what it's talking about. And people don't believe that unless you've been there and done that type of riding.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard stories about it, that's for sure, from, been fortunate, have yourself, we had Michael, Riot, Solo, Reef, Ken Andrews, I've had a lot of the guys have, competed at that level and rode it. And, when you push yourself, and the mind will start playing tricks on you. It's like, Ken Andrews made a very good point one time. He goes, there's a difference between being tired and being sleepy. And you got to know the difference in yourself. You got to know when to say, okay,
Exactly right.
it's time to close my eyes.
And you got to know that. I mean, you're out there by yourself. You don't have anybody telling you, hey, you need to stop and go to sleep. That's on you.
Yeah, that is for sure. So what kind of little ventures? I know you got your monster ride coming up soon.
My monster ride's coming up this Friday. So so those listeners that may not know that we're on the Monsters Inc. has for what did it start March 4th, May 4th.
March
It
or
started. Yeah, we got a Monster 100 ride going on, and it's to help raise money to buy Drew a wheelchair accessible van. And I think we've already raised plenty enough to buy the van,
I know when I
but
checked this
we're
morning, I
gonna.
think we're just about at 140,000, which is absolutely freaking amazing.
That's amazing. In what, like 73 days or something, like 74
Yeah,
days?
yeah, somewhere in there. We're between 70 and 72 days.
That is amazing. So we're gonna, the monsters, of course, get the van for him and his family, and then there's gonna be enough now to do a lot more with that. Whether it.
Yeah. See if we can see that 138,892.
That is amazing. That is crazy. At at the people that's got on board with this thing and is doing some phenomenal stuff. But yeah, my ride is Friday. So there's two riders a day since May 4th, I think you
Yep.
said. So since May 4th, there's been two riders every day uh, riding 1,000 miles under 24 hours. We're doing the Saddle Store 1,000 to help raise awareness and money for Drew. And Friday's my day. So there's been two riders a day every day since then. And it's going to be 100,000 miles in 100 days, two riders a day. So 200,000 miles, with the combination of two riders um, in 100 days. So that's what that's all about. And my ride is Friday.
It was amazing how fast it filled up when it came out first, when it was originally just 100 riders. And man, it
Yep.
was filled in under 2 days. And so many more people like, hey, still want to go. And so he did the 200 per day, and it still didn't
Yep.
take long, and that filled up, which is absolutely awesome to see the whole community, everybody, wanting to get on board and join the program, do something great, and take something we all enjoy, which is riding. But now we have an amazing cause to ride for, and to help support an awesome family and give them, something they really need to be able to get Drew around, even out of the house, go places, do whatever they can, especially plus, the doctor's appointments. And man, it's
Yep.
so awesome to see what all of us have been able to accomplish. And thanks to all those who have donated to, all these different riders. We all have our little pages inside the Give Butter, then it's all tracked as one. And it's been super cool. I know I did mine was the Father's Day weekend, June 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Myself and a buddy, Steve Weber, that lives here in town. And then as his new nickname, Frankie Mountains, aka Frank Orlando, he met us down on this side of White's Pass, one of the Cascade Passes, and he rode another 1,000 miles that day to come with us. And we did 1187 and 22 hours 51 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah. It's also when you can do something that you love doing and you do it for a cause, something that's bigger than you. And
Amen.
you're doing something that you enjoy doing. You're actually, because it's my passion, man. This is a lot of people love golf or fishing or hunting. And I used to fish and hunt back in the day, but I care nothing about that anymore. It's it's riding motorcycles long distance, man. It's like my passion now, and I absolutely love it. And to do
Mm-hmm.
something like that and do it for a cause, and you can see where it's going. It's not like you're riding for one of those charities that you can't really see where your time and energy and your money's going. You can
That's a
see where
very
it's,
good point.
yeah, you actually see that where it's, you can see this charity at work and what it's doing.
I never thought about it in that aspect. That's a very good point. I like how you put that. And well,
Yeah.
and look at right now. I mean, basically, we got a Mile Monsters event going, and now we got another event going inside the second event where you got Riot and Hop and Twister. And you got Setzer Pendants and Chase Setzer. They're along, helping document everything, and they're doing the Gavin the Goat tour right now, going around Texas to all the dealerships, doing something's never been done forever. Taking, a young boy Duchenne's on a motorcycle on what do you think, possibly a 10-day adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Riding
is
at
awesome.
whatever Gavin's pace is when he says I'm tired, and then they stop. And
Yeah.
I did see some great pictures of him, on the back of Hoff's bike, he's taking a nap, but it's like they said, with the heat they got going in Texas, Gavin is going to set the pace. When he's ready to stop, then they stop. And that it's absolutely cool to be following this adventure on social media. And yeah, Wrong Way was fortunate enough to join him last night on day one, which was super cool.
I saw that on his brand new bike.
Yeah. Traded in a bike and got a brand new one, and he hasn't even traded it in yet.
I hadn't even broke it in yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone's on here wants to check it out, just if you have Facebook, go to Mile Monsters Inc. page on Facebook, and they're putting up pictures and posts every day on the Gavin ride. And a lot more. You can follow our page there, follow the Mile Monsters Inc. page on Facebook, and you can see where your donation's going.
Yeah, there's the main page. There's also the Facebook group you can join and see a lot of stuff. And it's amazing to see how it's grown. As like yourself, you came on in the beginning riding with Riot, and I got to know him before actually Mile Monster started, and sharing posts like, man, I want to do more, and want to, like I said, we all enjoy riding. So if you got a great cause, you like riding, then why not do something I enjoy for something even better? And man, it's been awesome, and never look back since. It's just such an awesome joy to to do what you can to help the organization. And plus, as you get in the group and you follow the page, you get to know these boys that we're helping, with Turbo and Gavin, Alfie was another one, Jack up in Ireland also. And, we got Drew and Ethan. It's, it's just, it makes it more personal when you get to really interact with these boys and you kind of get to know them.
You do. Yeah, I actually got to meet, 3 of them up in South Dakota. They had the boys and the families flown out to South Dakota for the end of the road party for the 22 Hoka Hey. I got to actually meet the boys up there, which is an awesome thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting them at the end of the ride for the Monster 100. My wife and I will be over there for that, which will be super cool.
Yeah, I was hoping I can make that, but I don't think I'm going to have the time to do it with all the vacation I've taken. I did the Heart of Texas rally earlier in the year, and then, of course, the IBR. So I've taken a lot of time off from work, and I don't know if I could swing it or not. I looked at flights up there, and I could fly up there maybe and do it on the weekend, but I don't know if probably not. I'm probably not going to be able to make it, which is a bummer. But that would be, it's going to be great if Ashley and I could fly up, and we're still looking at it, still debating it.
Yeah, T-Bone says that'll be sweet. I'll be looking forward to him. It'll be fun to, get to meet a lot more of these guys we're all, chit-chatting online with and mess back and forth, through Facebook groups and seeing the posts. So that's, the other cool part is getting to meet a lot of the guys face to face. And, that was the same thing when I went over for the Hoka Hey, when, my wife and I, my son, and actually that's when I met Setzer Pendants finally first time, and Springer Mike and Wrenchbender Nick, who were in the side chat, got to meet them. And, we all had a great weekend and got to meet a whole lot of people and hang out, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. The rendezvous are fun. I didn't get to make the rendezvous this past year this past one a few months ago, because it was like a week before the IBR started, so couldn't swing that. But anytime we get together, the taco run is a good deal. At Medicine Park, I did that a couple of times, and there's a lot of long distance riders there, and a lot of Hoka Hey riders there. And it's a great place. Medicine Park is a cool place to hang out, and there's some good riding around that area too, around Lawton, Oklahoma, Medicine Park area.
That's what Frank was. I know, like I talk a lot with Frank Orlando because he's he's a couple hours from me, and he rode down there, was trying to get me to go with him, and he didn't even realize when he got back that he actually did a 4K in 4 days. Because he took quite the detour through New Mexico and Arizona, Utah, and went all over the place in this massive big circle and riding like he does. And back, he's like, holy crap, because I didn't even realize it. So he ended up going back through a spot wallet, put a thing together, and got a 4K in 4 days certified.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
So he got Wrong Way. He was curious if you doing Hops Rally.
Yeah, I want to. I got to look at that too and see the dates on it, which I know it's posted up on on that one site. I can't think of the name of it, where you go on and sign up for the rallies. So I'm gonna look at that, and I really want to do it. I
Thanks,
actually
brother.
signed up for it last year. Um, I was signed up for Hops Rally last year because, like I said, I wanted to get some rally experience, before the IBR. And turns out I had that little 10-hour rally in Georgia, then I had the Heart of Texas rally that I did, which I did terrible at. But that's the only two rallies I had going into IBR. And so I wanted to do Hops Rally, but I had my vacation canceled when that rally. I work for a power company, and we had a tropical storm moving into Florida. And I know a lot of you people out in the Midwest, anyways, don't know, but y'all know about tornadoes. But Florida, we're pretty accustomed to hurricanes down here. But we had a tropical storm coming. So, like I said, I work for a power company, and when everybody's leaving, we're anchoring. We're getting ready for it. So I had my vacation canceled, and so I wasn't able to make Hops Rally.
Yeah,
In the
Mike, I
past.
believe the end of the road party in Rapid City is open to the public. Last I checked.
Yeah, I think it
Ron Way
is.
just commented too. Yeah, it's down at the convention center in Rapid City. I think at the Best Western.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The more the better.
Yeah, we'll be there for that because that'll be Friday night, and then I know my wife and I we will be heading back this way Saturday morning because we'll be over there working with Wild Ass all week, so that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I rode on a wild ass air cushion in the IBR also the Hoka Hey, but let's throw Craig and him a bone. I did use a wild ass air cushion during the
Tell you what, they make
Hoka
an
Heys.
absolute huge difference.
They do. I mean, if you've never ridden on one and you're looking to buy a new seat, a more comfortable seat, just get the wild ass air cushion because you can throw it on a stock seat and you're good. For
Yep.
anyone that rides further than their local bike night can benefit
Oh, absolutely. I
from.
mean, the ergonomics, the whole thing is designed, even for, guys and gals, the way if you actually take the cushion out of the pad, they're actually designed also, for men and whatnot, they take pressure also off your prostate when you're sitting and the comfort of them
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And they're just very well designed. I mean, they're made by, a company that does a lot of wheelchair cushions. And, it's a stretchable rubber neoprene bladder inside the cushion and it don't take much air at all in them. And yeah, it's like you're so much more comfortable. You can breathe, air will go through them. And so they make a
Yeah,
world of difference. That's for sure.
they do. I first started on one of the other air bladders, and then once I heard about this one, and I saw Paco was running one, and several of the other guys were running them. I purchased one, and it's night and day from the other air bladder that I did have. So yeah, I've
Yeah.
actually got a couple of them now. I have one on
Yeah.
each bike.
Yep. We got one on my, I have two on my bike. Well, one's mine, one's my wife's. My son rides on one and on his V-Star. And they do, man. If you want to ride long distance, especially even in the heat, it's amazing the difference. You ain't going to get that fucking monkey ass going on. You'll
That's
swamp
right.
rot. Hey, that's a good point, Mike. I never thought about that. Mike uses wild ass as his pillow when he'd stop to
I have
sleep.
done that before. Yeah.
That's smart. Never actually thought of that. Heck yeah.
That works
So,
great too.
well, shoot, Jeff, thanks for coming and hanging out and sharing some stories. No, I mean, it was cool. I mean, because, myself being a fan of the IBR, a lot of the, these rallies and whatnot, it's cool to be able to hear the stories and kind of a little more in depth and explaining it, for us guys, even, guys aside that haven't done it, that have, aspirations of doing it. So, thanks for, kind of sharing out, kind of how you set out and you laid out and, how it went, because it is informative.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be on your show, on your podcast. Like I say, thanks for having me. There's so many other riders out there that's a lot better than I am that you could have had on here and you chose me. So thanks for that and allowed me to share my story.
And for me, that's what it's all about. It's like I can go through Facebook, find people say, I've seen guys like they posted this great, a fucking 3,000 mile trips. Like fuck, that's kind of some cool areas. Like, I just love to hear stories, and you know, you
Yeah,
can the old saying, you live vicariously through somebody else's story, and be able to share that to more people. And so, man, that's what it's all about. I mean, I just I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and it's like, you know, one person leads to another one. It's like, you know, since I had, you know, you on this week, now we got Taekwon finally broke down, and he's going to come on next week, and it's like, there you go, finally.
I'm gonna make sure I listen to that. That's gonna be a good one.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, me and
You know,
Taekwon.
since, you know, thanks to Wrong Way coming on last week, and you know, it's opened the doors for some other guys that have been messing. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's like, oh shit, man, you got Wrong Way. Now you got Jeff Chauncey come on. It's like, fine, I'll do it. I'm like, sweet.
That's gonna be great. Me and Taekwon has certainly put some miles down together. We did I mean, we did shorter rides together, but we have did a 50cc. Think we knocked that out. I actually got it written down somewhere, man. We nailed that sucker. Something like 37 hours. We did a 50cc from Jacksonville to San Diego, and
Jesus,
then
I've heard a lot of in the low 40s, but I don't think I've heard of one in the upper
yeah, and
30-hour range.
I actually before I got on earlier today, I actually had to pull my old Spot Wallet map up because I save all my trips on Spot Wallet, and I looked at the receipts and I did the math. And it was like 37 hours. I thought it was in the 40s myself, but the receipts. You know what? I bet it's time zone though, so I got to calculate that in. So maybe it was around 40, 42 is what we did it in. So I may be mistaken.
Well,
And
it's
then
still an impressive time. I mean, regardless.
yeah, yeah. So it would have been more around 40, 40, 41, 42 range. And he'll probably know. He'll come on next week and correct me. But
Well,
but and
I'll
then
have to give you a call and get some good key point conversation notes for him.
right. And I'll save some of our stories for him. Maybe we did 100cc and in great time considering it was cold and we had a few hotel stops. Normally we wouldn't do that. Normally we would just sleep by the bike for a couple of hours, but we actually checked into a couple of hotels and got warm. And but you have 100 hours to complete that ride. I think it was like 90 hours, 90 something. We did that in, but we did after our first 50cc, we actually did that, and then we took like a few days to come home. Went through Utah, Colorado, went to the top. Actually got to go all the way to Summit on Pikes Peak, which was pretty cool. Never been out there,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
that was cool. Yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, me and Taekwon's got a few miles together under our belt. Love riding with that guy. Great guy. Me and him kind of ride the same. Normally, myself at least, I know several other long distance riders. We like to be alone. We like to ride by ourselves. And but if I'm going to ride with somebody, T-Bone, me and him had the same riding style, and me and Taekwon had the same ride. So there's only a couple of people that I mean, I ride 300 or 400 miles with you, but if we're doing a 50cc, more or less, most times than not, I want to be alone doing it.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. You can get in a groove, or you know, with somebody. It's like, hey, cool. You know, our styles are linked up pretty similar, and we
Mm,
can get this done. And then there's just like, you just know it's not going to work.
yeah. Well, I mean, I might see something. I'm like, oh, that was cool. I want to pull over and look at that. Well, I don't want to, tell this other guy, hey, let's pull over and look at that when he's wanting to roll. So if I'm by myself, I get to do what I want. I can pee when I want. I can stop and look at stuff when I want, take pictures.
Yeah,
So, and that goes both ways. So, yeah, I prefer to do a long distance ride alone, but unless it's with those couple of guys that we have the
right.
same riding style.
Yep. No, I understand that 100%. So,
Well, yeah,
well,
man, it's
man,
been fun. This has
heck
been
yeah,
fun.
it is fun, and you know, I'm glad you. I know you're kind of, you know, we're a little nervous and whatnot about doing it, but it's like so many people said, you get that, you know, 10 minute-ish mark, and it's like, it's just bullshit and having a good time. You're drinking a beer and sharing
Exactly.
stories and talking motorcycles, and it ends up it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm not I tell people I talk too much, but I'm not a speaker. So I don't get up in front of people and speak. And I don't like to, and I'm not, and that's not what this was, but I don't like to boast. Like I don't brag. I don't boast. I don't, hey, look at me. I don't, I typically don't do that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been great, man. We got to talk about stuff both of us is passionate about, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, then you have the same passions as we do.
Heck yeah. Life on two wheels, doing some amazing stuff, doing great causes and just enjoying the open road and hitting that wind.
And it's such great therapy, if you having
Yeah.
a bad day or anything, yeah, you can just get out and
No,
go for 5 minutes, seems it goes away.
well, he used to call a lot, I always, would take stuff through throttle therapy. Then I had long haul Paul on who, is riding a million miles for MS. And he brought up a good
Yep,
point that another one, it's moto therapy.
yep,
That's another genius way to put it. And it's so true because, we all can get those days. I mean, I've, been in bad mood of time. I might just go ride 5 miles, a little tiny loop from my house, but you know what? It's that 5 miles, like come back and I feel better. You get the air in. It's like, all right, cool. I'm good now. And it doesn't always,
exactly. Yeah,
tell people it doesn't have to go be, well, excuse me, 50 miles, 100, 200, 300. I mean, man, just take 10 minutes, if you can go out for 10 minutes on the bike, do a little loop somewhere back around and come back home. And man, you can just feel relieved. And, it's that moto therapy, that two-wheel therapy, and just having a
it
good
is.
time and get out.
Yeah, there's not a medication or anything that's any better than that.
That's right. So, well, buddy, thank you so much for coming and hanging out tonight. This has been a good time. And again, thank you so much for actually, coming on and sharing your stories and the adventures, man. I greatly appreciate it. I really enjoyed it. And hopefully one of these days we'll catch you somewhere on the road. We'll shoot down and share a beer and tell some more stories.
Absolutely, man. I got some stuff out your way that's on my bucket list. I'll get out there someday. I've never ridden in Montana, so that's on my bucket list. I got to get out there.
Oh, Montana's beautiful. Yeah, then you come your way. There's some great riding through northern Washington areas. But yeah, when you get this way, man, definitely have to reach out. And I'd love to go meet up with you somewhere.
Sure do it, man.
Right on. Well, guys, hey, you all have fun, ride safe, enjoy the open road. Tune in next Sunday as we got Taekwon, another IBA finisher, a Hoka Hey man, and a long distance, long miles kind of guy. It's gonna be a great time, guys. So hey, thank you all for tuning in, man. Ride safe, have fun, enjoy the open road, and we'll catch you in the cross.